I'll hand it out in a little bit, but I know that many of you have seen the Connected Families framework that I think is excellent for that sort of thing. That everything that you do and say sends messages to these kids, and so you want to make sure that you're always sending the right messages to the kids. Yeah. Well, those are that pretty much nailed all the ones that I had. So I think maybe we're on the same page when it comes to what does an excellent children's ministry look like. Kids are excited to be there. They're engaged in the teaching. You know, they're actually learning, and you can see that growth happening in their lives. The parents are equipped to be able to help their kids with discipleship, and we will do some events over the course of the year. I've got Connected Families coming 2 times. The first one will be in October, and so the first one is how to grow a connected family, which is sort of their standard one, and then the second one, I think we're going to do one on entitlement. How to keep your kids from being entitled, and that one will be in the spring. So anyway, so we'll do some of that, and hopefully we can just through parent communication, maybe just getting parents together from time to talk with each other, and not have necessarily a huge long teaching time, but just a chance for parents to come together and share ideas and questions, and here's what we've been thinking about. That's one of the things in the culture conversations that we've been having with the board and with the staff and with some others. Just getting a lot of feedback, I think, is something that we have to do better than what we have. Is just continuing to ask for feedback on how people are doing and what they need and all of that. So that hopefully will be a part of it as well. So the outcome of an excellent kids ministry is kids learn to love Jesus. I think it actually is life-giving to volunteers as well. Maybe not every single Sunday, but if you've worked with kids at all, you know that there are moments. Right? That there are moments that are life-giving for you, that raise you up out of the mire of wild kids and all that. So creates long-time friendships, and it can do that between kids, but it can also do that between parents as well. When parents start connecting with each other. And the other outcome is that it also attracts families to the church. If you have a good kids ministry and parents know that their kids are well cared for and are learning, and that there's growth that's happening, and then that spreads. People hear about that, and that becomes a sort of a benefit, I think, to having a kids ministry as well. So that's excellence, and I don't think there's really anything that we can't do there without a paid staff person, right? We can do that all. Okay, but what it takes is it takes being very diligent. It takes being very intentional about what we're doing and how we're doing it. And I know that sometimes people will look at the material that's being taught and all of that, and I think the material that we have is good. It's not the material necessarily that makes the children's ministry excellent. Okay, the material is good. It's not magic. All right. Even great material, when it's taught badly, or when it's done in a way that doesn't engage the kids, or you have volunteers who don't actively engage with the kids and show the kids that they love them, then all the material in the world is not gonna change anything. All right. So what you need to know is that the kids are going to learn probably as much about Jesus from the way you treat them and the way you greet them as they will from the material itself. I mean, they'll get the material. If they're in the kids ministry over the course of 6 years or more, I guess, then they'll learn. They'll learn stuff. They'll pick it up. And so every week doesn't have to be a home run as far as the material is concerned. Okay, because it's just that repetition and all of that. So we want kids to grow to know and love Jesus. We also want them to love the church because we believe that that's a critical component. I really don't believe that people can maintain their faith in the way it ought to be maintained without the church. I really believe that. And that view is becoming less and less common. There are a lot of people who think, well, I actually could do better if I'm not in the church. And I just don't think that's the case. I really don't. And so we want to have kids who grow up loving the church. Okay, so what will make an excellent ministry? So these are sort of some big things, big picture items, and then we'll get into some of the little details and stuff too, because I think it's the details that matter. All right. Number one, it's excellent when we treat the children's ministry as more than a place for the kids to go while their parents are in worship service. All right. You are not a babysitter. Because I think sometimes it's easy to think that, or sometimes it's easy to feel that way if you don't get through your whole lesson or whatever, you know. But you're not, and so we need to make sure that we're valuing that time, and that we treat that what happens up there as just as important as what happens down here. All right, and so. Every Sunday, remind yourself of that. When you go, man, I wish I haven't been in the worship service in 3 weeks, and I'd really like to be there, and I understand that. But understand that what you're doing up there is just as important as what's happening down here. Second, kids ministry is excellent when teachers consistently show their kids love. Okay, that's really the first step to the whole thing. I wish, well, actually you can. So on Thursday night, September 12th, Care 11, I think 8 o'clock. They're going to be showing a documentary that's out that we saw. Actually, Sharon and Ann and I went to it. Transform Minnesota was putting it on. It's called Love Them First. And it's about Lucy Laney Elementary School and that principal and the work that she's been doing there. And I cried through the whole thing. It was amazing. But really, what it was her valuing these kids who have such difficult home lives and really have so that their whole life is sort of stacked against them. It's stacked against their success, and the way she values them. And that is it comes through in that documentary. So it's on Care 11. I'm actually DVRing it, so maybe we can watch it sometime. But if you want to see a great example or a great story of culture change, or how powerful culture is, just watch that. And really, it starts. The foundation piece of it is that that they love the kids, that they make sure that they know that they're safe and cared for and wanted. That's the number one step there. And maybe maybe a good illustration of that is I think probably all of you maybe grew up going to Sunday school, right? Okay. How many of you remember like individual lessons when you were growing up? You do?
I remember a couple of them.
Do you?
Yeah.
All right. Good.
From older times. Like.
Those are really good, memorable ones. Yeah. Okay. Most likely, you probably don't remember very many of the lessons that you were taught. You probably remember the stories. Like the cumulative effect of hearing the stories and hearing the teaching and all of that is great. But how many of you can remember your Sunday school teachers? Yeah. I don't know if I could name all of them for like every year. But I can name, because they, even to this day, I just go, man, they invested in me, and I don't know how they felt about it at the time. Maybe they were just filling a need. They were going, maybe every year when the Sunday school superintendent asked them if they would teach, they go, well, can somebody else do it? And then they were like, all right, if nobody else will do it, then I'll do it. But it was still impactful on me, I'm sure it was probably better than that. Most of them probably were. But they had an impact on you, and it really had to do as much with their modeling and the care and the time that they invested in you as it did with the material that was being taught. Okay. An excellent ministry shows parents that their kids are valued and safe. Okay, so it's not just for kids; it's also for parents as well. And that means that we have to pay attention to detail. All right? And I know it's really easy. It's easy in a small church to not pay attention to detail. And it's easy in a small church when you don't have new parents or new visitor parents coming every single week. It's easy to just go, oh, we probably don't need to follow that policy. It's okay if you take your kid without a tag or whatever. But anytime you start to do that, you're creating habits that are less than excellent, right? And so there are just some details that we have to always keep in mind. Number one, be there 20 minutes early. All right. This is one that I think, whether it's ushers and greeters, kids ministry workers, whatever, there have been times, I can remember a couple of times when we've had visitors that would show up like 5 minutes before service, and their teacher was not in the room yet, hadn't arrived yet. Okay? Now, what kind of message does that send to someone who's new? Maybe you don't need to answer that. Right?
No, it said that it's not a priority for me, the teacher, to be there and have lights on. And
yeah. Yeah, exactly. And again, it's not every day that we have a new family coming. I mean, I hope that at some point, every Sunday, we have someone that's new. That would be awesome. And we need to practice for that. So we need to be ready for that, because even if our members come late, visitors tend to come early, right? And so if they're here and there's no check-in person and no one in the nursery and no one in their kids' Sunday school class, then that shows we don't really care that much. Kids aren't really that important to us.
I will just clarify. There's Sunday school doesn't start until there's this service, so the teachers won't be in the classroom.
Right. Sure.
But they should perhaps be here and be,
I think so.
Looking out for kids and that sort of thing.
Yep. I think so.
So they don't need to go up until they're dismissed?
I mean,
or should the teachers be up there?
The smaller kids go up right away, right?
No.
Not for Sunday school. Just for nursery.
Nursery,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, you probably should go in and make sure your classroom is set up the way you want. And
Yeah. Don't go into the morning frazzled, sort of last minute, that sort of thing. Make sure you have time to sit down and pray for your kids. Sit in your room and pray for the kids that are going to be there.
That's where the prayer meeting before church comes in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Okay. Loretta hit on this earlier. Notice each kid. All right. Every day, make sure that you mention each one of them by name. Say their name, look them in the eye, acknowledge that they're there. Because that shows that they're important. And be excited. I'm so glad to see you. I'm so glad you were able to make it today. That makes a world of difference for kids. Be prepared. Okay. It doesn't take a lot of time to prepare the lessons. Look through it. Prepare the physical things if there's a craft or something that you need to do. It doesn't take 10 hours to prepare that. But make sure that you're ready when the time comes. Don't just do things on the fly. Okay. Follow the check-in policies. We went through this. It's easy to be lax in a small church because we all know each other and we're used to each other and we know each other's kids and all of that kind of stuff. But it's still a public space, and so we have to treat Sunday morning as a public space and follow the procedures and protocol. When we take kids from the sanctuary upstairs, I want to make sure that whoever we have is taking them will stand in the middle of the aisle and wave, so everybody knows who's taking their kids upstairs. And so, is it typically the greeter that does that, or is one of the Sunday school teachers?
It's not been
I don't think there's been it's
Specified, yeah.
Okay. Okay, we should specify that. What's that?
I'll work on that.
Okay. I mean, it would make sense maybe for the greeter to do that?
Sure.
No?
But they're not really taking,
No.
they're not
Maybe
teaching.
just
They're not gonna teach them
Preschool
necessarily
teacher?
going upstairs.
Right, but we probably do want the greeter to stay out here, you know, probably 10 minutes after the service starts.
Right.
In case kids come late.
by the greeter. Who do you mean?
The
check-in
check-in
person.
person, yeah.
Oh, I
Sorry,
thought you
kids
meant like
ministry.
the
Yeah, the greeters
person
are-
greeting.
Oh, yeah, no, sorry,
So
yeah,
sad.
check-in, the kids ministry check-in, yeah. And would that,
Well, I mean, I think we as teachers are sprinkled through the congregation.
Sure,
And so when we're dismissed, probably, I mean, they'll see we as adults funneling to the. I'm fine with whomever.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know, I think we need to have a face. Yeah,
I think for young children, a consistent face might be good, and for new kids, like the first, so they see this pretty consistently, like the same person, but I don't know. I
right.
think for little children, consistency is really important, especially not
You
everybody
can
knows.
say
the
it'll
same
just be
people.
me when I'm in town,
Mhm.
Okay.
and then when I'm not in town, obviously, we can have the greeter or whomever is checking in.
Okay.
How about I dress up as the Pied Piper and leave the
But then, how well can you play the pipe, that's the question.
They could put a little
Because if you
music
play
on
it
there.
badly, then they might run away, right?
If the parents actually know the story of the Pied Piper.
That's true, they might not. They might not, all right.
It's the first test.
Here's another one of the detail things, okay? Ruthlessly communicate. Maybe that's not the right word, but you know what I mean, right? I would rather have you over-communicate than under-communicate, and that obviously does not always happen too. So that means, return emails, return texts. If you're gonna, if you get sick on a Sunday morning, that happens sometimes, or you get a flat tire on the way to get there and you're not going to be early, then just let us know, and then we can adjust and all of that. Okay.
So let Adrian know?
Yeah, let Adrian know on Sunday mornings. Yeah. The other thing is, think of your job as the most important job in the church, because it might be. I mean, when you think about what we're trying to accomplish with these kids, it might be the most important job in the church. So no pressure, but just understand. You're not babysitters, and that. So.
Sorry, going back to the communication thing. Let Adrian know, but also maybe know the person that you're switching off with in your classroom too, because.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
if you can't get a hold of Adrian, then
Right.
like maybe talk to your person.
Yeah, and I don't know, Adrian, we didn't really talk about if you get partway through the week and something comes up and you're not going to be there on Sunday and you need a sub. Should they contact you, or should they contact like the other? Because we've got a set of other teachers. Should they contact the other teacher?
So in
Or?
the past, people have contacted the others, like one of the other teachers, and found their own.
Yeah.
That would be great,
Okay.
because I have a couple of things going on.
Yeah. Yep.
So I can't always be on top of that. So if you do contact one of the other teachers to see if they can be your backup, but if for whatever reason they're not contacting you, or you're having trouble getting your own backup, let me know and I can go from there.
Yeah. Okay. So start by trying to get your own sub, and if that doesn't work, then get in touch with Adrian. Okay. Good. All right. So.
Pastor,
Yes.
I think one of the things, I know we said that with the kids be loved and secured by the parents, but I think one of the sad things with the Love Them First video is the school culture, and we worked really hard where I was in North Minneapolis to love the kids, and so they felt they had this warm environment. But the sad thing is, when you can't change the culture of those homes, you're not going to get a good result. Lucy Lane never got off that list.
Right.
And so you can change the culture, and you can love the kids all you want here, but if we don't change the homes that they have, and they see that as important to raise their children to love the Lord, and that's a really critical mission, the parents don't understand that, and know how to do that, you're not going to be as successful as you want to be.
Yeah.
So it's really important for us to be able to really, really have those parents understand
Dive into the parents.
that is their most important job
Yeah.
when they have children, is
Yeah.
that they're going to raise them to
Yeah.
love the Lord, and that they have to have their own life, in order to do that. And so that, I think, is such a critical part of children's ministry, not just to love them and have a good culture here,
Yeah.
but to really influence those homes.
Yeah.
Because that's where the primary learning takes place. And
I
the
think
culture
I think
that's
one of the starts that we'll have to that is for the first time in, I think maybe since I've been here, we're going to do, and I'm trying to remember the date, I think it's in November, we're going to do a Kids Day on a Sunday morning, where we'll have the kids involved, but the whole thing will be centered around kids, and I think a lot of it will be talking about that as well. And by that time, and maybe we can brainstorm some things and say, all right, how do we do this? How do we engage parents? Like I said, it could be, so we've got some training events that are set up. It could be, just regular, getting together with parents, even if it's not a training thing, but having them talk about, their kids and that. So there are lots of options there, providing opportunities. I know even something simple like Connected Families has a newsletter or an email that they send out regularly. So just letting parents know about that and any of those things I think can be helpful for helping parents to be able to do that too. So yeah. So let's make sure that stays on our radar and all that. So, but that is something that I would like to do. Yeah. Okay. Some things to remember. Number one, your ministry flows out of your relationship with Jesus. If you don't have a relationship with Jesus, it's hard to teach kids to have a relationship with Jesus. And so make sure it's coming out of that foundation. If you find yourself, what the church is here for is to help facilitate that relationship that you have with Jesus, and all the things that it means. And so if at any time you're feeling dry and you go, man, this is, I'm just really struggling here, get in touch with me and let's talk. Let's have coffee once I'm done with this fast. Let's have coffee and talk through it. And maybe there's some things that we can find that will help you in that. Okay. 2, said this before, you're not a babysitter. You're there to help in the kids' spiritual development.